today's vivid dream is going to be about a woman named Samantha, her childhood and growing up, and a dream she's been reoccurring about her 30th birthday that's going to actually come true on her 30th birthday, or so she think. But what happens on her 31st birthday becomes shocking. The plot twist to this story is very, very good. If you are into these type of stories, please smash the like button and subscribe to my channel, as I'm new to telling these, so it really helps my channel. Alright y'all, let's get into this vivid dream. Growing up, when Samantha was only like 7 or 8 years old, Samantha used to always play around, have friends, and she was pretty normal when it comes to regular life stuff and going to school and, you know, about having good grades, and always was good to her parents, like never had no issues, was never troubled or anything. But Samantha did used to always have this dream at night, that every night she had this dream and it showed her 30th birthday and she's an adult in her dream, and you know, she's like older, so she's drinking at this party and, you know, having fun. But for some reason at the end of this dream she would always collapse and die on the floor on her 30th birthday. So by the time Samantha turned 10 years old, she actually gotten to the point where now she had to start taking therapy and stuff, because this dream has entaked her mind so much, like, that she just kept thinking, like, now it's true. When I turn 30, I'm only gonna live to be 30, and start saying negative things and just, you know, real negative about it now. So she went to therapy and, you know, different doctor's appointments and stuff. But don't get me wrong, she still was normal and stuff. She still did her normal thing at 10 and even 12, 14, 16. But here it goes years later, and now she's in her 20s and she's 27 years old, and yet she's still having a dream. But now it's a lot more details in her dream. Like, as she got older, it's like she understood exactly how she was going to die on this 30th birthday. Here's a recap of what doctors say and her husband says about what happens in her dream on her 30th birthday. According to her, Samantha said that when she go to sleep, she will wake up, and in her dream, she's really still asleep, but she's woke, so it feels like she's woke in real life. She'd go downstairs and she's partying, and it's her 30th birthday. They would have a cheers for something, and then after she had a cheers for something, she would get kind of drunk and we're like, you know, time for her like to go upstairs. So she said she'd go upstairs to get her mind together, and as she's going up the steps, all she could remember hearing was a popping sound. Then she said she could remember seeing some type of fire and maybe smoke or something, and then she said, and then after that, all she could remember is being upstairs, and she's walking towards her bedroom, she's drunk, passes out on the floor, never to wake up again. And then after that, she wakes up in real life. Ultimately, after a few comforting words for David, you know, because she knew her birthday was the next day now, and she's you know, confused, calling her therapist and all this other stuff now, because she's so nervous, because now years came past, and, you know, it's the day of her dream. So she don't know whether she should go to sleep, because if she go to sleep, she like, what if my dream happens and I don't wake up? But then, you know, what if I do wake up and then my dream happens and everything in that whole day plays out like my dream and I die at the end of today? And she's like, I just don't want to go to sleep because, you know, I'm afraid. But David gave her some more comforting words and stuff, and ultimately she would go to sleep. The next day she'll wake up, so that's a good thing. She's feel comfort now, and then David's sitting there hugging her, and he's letting her know it's gonna be fine, everything's gonna go perfect. And now later on that evening they will have this party, and predominantly nothing in her dream happens. Party goes good, and she's happy, she's excited. That day goes past. Now her birthday is now past, so she's out of this trend, but she's still having that dream. But she's like, oh, you know, she's kind of bypassing the dream now, because she's like, I'm good. She's happy to know that she lived past her 30th birthday, and she's so excited. So eventually they go ahead and have a new addition to the family. So now they go ahead and have the newborn baby and stuff, and then the baby turns, you know, the baby gets older and stuff. Of course, months go past and stuff, and now it's approaching her 31st birthday. And for her 31st birthday, they was gonna redo their vows and, you know, kind of have a get together or something like that, you know, to make it fun. So the 31st birthday comes around, and it's the day of the 31st birthday. She's not scared or anything. She gets up and she's all happy and she's talking and, you know, going on with a very good day. And then all of a sudden, you be shocked when she finds out, like, oh, everybody's coming over and we gonna have a good time, and they all can see the baby and, you know, just see how big he's gotten. And she's just so optimistic about her day, is where I'm getting at. But the party will go on and all this stuff, and you'll see them cheers up their drinks, and she's having fun during the party, and then you'll see them bring out a cake and stuff because it's her birthday, and they lighting the candles and all that type of stuff, you know, just a regular good fun birthday type thing. And she's getting drunk and stuff, and she go upstairs and she starts walking the steps, and meanwhile, while she's going upstairs because she done got drunk, David is talking to one of the uncles of hers in the family, and he was like, he said, I'm so glad, man, that she met you, because it's been a really rough year it's been rough years for her, should I say. And you know, she's been going through a struggle, and David was explaining, yeah, I know, you know, but we worked through it, and I'm just glad it's really over with. And then the uncle would say, yeah, because she always said in her dream she died today. And he said, no, that was last year. And he's like, the uncle said, what do you mean? Today is her 30th birthday. And then he said, no, she's turning 31 today. And he said, no, when she was young, her parents got it all mixed up. So when he said that, then the husband, it all clicked on him. He looked back, he seen candles. That was the fire that she had saw in a dream. Then all of a sudden, the popping sound. The buddies over there shook up champagne and popped the champagne open. And it was the popping sound. Then all of a sudden, he started hearing a fire alarm go off, and he'll look over and see that the oven was smoking, and it was somebody with a pillow. That was the smoke she been seeing in her dream. And right there, he knew it. This ain't her 31st birthday. This is her 30th birthday. So he would hurry up and rush up the steps. But when he runs up the steps, and he looked in the room, she's on the floor, and it's too late. Samantha was dead. Later on, they would ultimately say she died of a heart attack. Something shocked her. So since she's dead, no one really knows what it is that shocked her, or what it is that made her catch the heart attack, or what it was, but people can assume, or at least I can assume it, and if anybody agrees with me, drop a comment, because we all can assume one thing. Samantha must have heard everything and seen everything that David seen. To pop the champagne, she must have heard the popping sound. The smoke from the oven, she must have smelled the smoke and heard the smoke alarm while they was trying to put it out with the pillow. Everything that David heard and all the pieces he put together, I'm assuming she did too. And that must have scared her, which caused her to have a heart attack and fall on the front floor and die, just like her dream. This vivid dream is about Tyler. Tyler will have a dream about a pawn shop robbery that'll take place because he was in there trying to get an item back that he had pawned days earlier. But when he wake up the next day after his dream, the events that occurred throughout his day is shocking. Tyler was a young, working hard man. He'd go to college, and he worked at a little grocery store, nothing spectacular. So he really struggled with paying for school and rent and housing and stuff. So he was good, but he wasn't good. So one year, Tyler would get into a very, very bad bind where he can't pay for it, and he knows they're going to end up putting him out of the school. So he took his watch and he went to the pawn shop to pawn it to get the money he needed, just to get him by until he'd get paid again so he could pay for the school, and that way he wouldn't get kicked out. Tyler would go in the pawn shop, give the guy the watch, and then the guy will go ahead and appraise it and stuff, and he'll give him this appraisal, that wasn't worth much, but Tyler needed the money, and he knew Tyler needed the money, so Tyler went on ahead and did it. He said, "Thank you for the $800, and I'll be back next week to pick up my watch." And he said, "Because that watch means a lot to me." So Tyler would take the money, he'll get back in the car, and then he'll go back home, and he'll go ahead and pay his school, and then he'll take care of all his bills and stuff. Gets tired and is late, and this is like a lot going on in his day, so he's already stressed out, he's fatigued, so he's like, you know what, I'm just going to put things down and I'm going to take a nap. When he went to sleep, he slept for about 2 hours before he popped up out of his sleep because he just felt like something was wrong. So he stood up for a while, and later on that night, he finally got his thoughts together and stuff, and then he went back to sleep. When he went to sleep, he had this dream. In this dream, Tom would say he'll get up, he'll get dressed. It's the day he's supposed to go get his item back. He'll go to the pawn shop in his dream, and he'll go inside and he'll go to the counter, and somewhere along the line, the guy gives him some reason where he doesn't have the watch anymore. Once Teller heard that, Teller would kind of get upset, and he'd say, "Look, I know it's back there," in his dream now. He said, "I know it's back there, and I need it. I need it back." He said, "Here's your $800 back. We made a deal." And the pawn shop guy said, "I don't have it. I just sold it yesterday, and it's first come, first serve. You had got it back before then." He said, "But you made a promise, and it's on paper that you're not supposed to sell my item." He said, "I understand, but somewhere along the line something got mixed up, but I don't have it anymore." So he said, "You know what? I'm not gonna get into this. I'll be back." And right as he was saying that, some guy will bust through the door in his dream with a gun, shoots it all around off in the air, and then he'll point the gun at Teller and the guy that's working behind the counter, and he'll say, "Give me all your money. Give me everything you got." And in the dream, I guess Teller somehow played hero out of nowhere, which he got some extra boost of energy or something that came out of him. Not sure what it was, but he said he knew it was a shotgun on the opposite side of the counter where the guy was at, and he wasn't sure if it was loaded, but he just said he had to do something. And as he was standing facing the guy at the counter, and the guy was behind Teller with the gun pointing at the register, he would just reach over the counter, grab the shotgun, turn around and point it at the guy that's trying to rob the place and say, "Shh." And then the guy gonna say, "That thing probably ain't even loaded." And all Teller remembers saying is 2-1. Chances is it is, chances is it's not. He said, "You want to take that gamble?" And then he gave him a look. He just looked at him, and the guy just took the gun, dropped it, backed away, and just ran out the store. At that point, he'll turn back around and face the gun towards the owner and say, "I know you got my watch." And then the owner would look at him, and the owner says, "I'm really sorry, I don't have it." He said, "Yes, you do." And then he'd wake up. Days would go past, and after days go past, it's actually just payday. So he gets up in the morning, and he's been having that same dream all week, of course. And he look at his cash, and he's like, "Oh, boom, my direct deposit hit. Let me go to the pawn shop, get my watch back, and pay this guy, and go on my day, and I'm glad everything back in line." So he asked his friend, can he take him up to the pawn shop? And it's the first time he tell his friend about everything that occurred in his dream. And his friend was just like, "Wow, like that sounds crazy, man. That's a weird dream." He's like, "Yeah, but I swear that was the same car." But anyways, red flags to drive on, and then, nothing. He started paying attention around him and stuff, and just kind of like cruising, talking, just regular vibes. But when he got to the pawn shop, he would walk inside of the pawn shop, and then a lot of his dreams started to come back to reality, because right as he walked in, you can see same guy behind the counter that was in his dream, which is the same guy he turned it into. So of course, same person at the register. And then he walks in, and he started having flashbacks of his dreams. The shelves and stuff that was in the store in his dreams had moved, and just everything was kind of lined up as his dream. And then when he got up to the counter, he said, "Yeah, here's the $800, and I would like to get my watch back." And the guy at the counter says, sorry, man. Sold it earlier. I don't have it. Just like the dream. Tyler would get mad and he'd say, no. You got my ring and I know it's back there. Then Tyler would start having a deja vu moment because he remembers saying that in his dream. So once he see the guy passes the window, Tyler started like, I think everything in my dream is starting to come true. They said, he looked back at the guy and said, I gotta play this out. He said, I know what to do already. Maybe it was a sign. So he followed his dream. And he looked at the guy and says, I know you got my watch. And the guy says, no, I sold it early. He said, we had a deal. I know it's back there. It's in a safe, in a box. And he says, no, I don't have it. It's gone. You look, don't make me get mad. You guys are I'm gonna have to kick you out of the store, call law enforcement. And right as he's saying that, someone says, ching. And the guy comes in and he barges in, kicks the door open, shoots the gun in the air just like in the dream, points the gun at the register guy, points the gun at Tyler, says, give it up. Give me everything you got. I know you got stuff back there. Give me everything you got. Now here lies a big decision for Taylor in this part because now we're talking about in real life. In his dream, there was a shotgun behind the counter. He reached over the counter and he turned around and faced towards the guy and he pointed the gun at him and he said, but in this round's reality, it's that gun just like his dream on the other side of that counter. Very possibly not, very possibly so. But at this point, it's a decision to make. Is he going to finish playing out the dream or is he going to stay in his lane? He decides to take his chances. He's facing the counter, the guy behind him with the gun, pointing it at the register guy and then pointing it at the back of his head. And Reggie pointing at the register guy. He takes the gun right off the back of his head, pointing at the register guy again. And Taylor makes his move. He reaches over the counter and it was there. He reaches over the counter, grabs the shotgun just like his dream, turns around, loads the shotgun, pointing at the guy, and tell the guy, you don't want to do this. And then the guy says, just like the dream, that thing probably ain't even loaded. And he go, 2-1 it is. Do you really want to try this? And just like the dream, the guy says, and he kind of holds his gun up in the air, slowly creeping back, and then he turns around and he runs out. Then he runs out of the store, and then at this point, he'll take the gun, he'll do a full turn around, and point right back at the register guy and says, you want to take this chance? I know you got my stuff. At this point, the guy behind the register says, I really don't have it. He said, you got it. Everything that happened just now, I seen last night in my sleep. You had my watch. They said, the guy was like, I'm so sorry. Thank you for saving my pawn shop. Just give me 1 second. Please don't kill me. That thing is loaded, which means that if that guy would have took the gamble, Taylor would have shot that gun off and it would have went off because that shotgun was loaded. And he says, here. So panicking because he knows the gun is loaded because he's the owner of the store. He runs over there, goes in the safe, pulls out the same box that Taylor was saying that it was in, that he'd been seeing in his dream all week, and pulls out and give him the watch. And not only does he give him the watch, he says, you saved my store, and he gives him the $800 back. Taylor will walk out, get in his buddy's car, they leave, and at that point, the vivid dream came to reality, came to an end. The plot twist on this vivid dream today is so good that they actually made a video of this story a long time ago. So, this story is about a guy who's chased a woman in his dream. He sees his dream girl every night. But this nightly dream would become a reality chase in real life. In 1984, Steven was one of those geeky type guys, kind of had that nerdy look, really didn't get it good with the women in his past or nothing like that, so he was always afraid to talk to females. But every night he'd go to sleep, he'd have a dream about talking to this dream girl. It was a blonde and she was beautiful, and he would always talk to her. He'll pull up and give her a ride from a bus stop to some house that was in his dream, and then he'll wake up and then he'll go to work and do his regular daily routines and stuff. But then every night he'll go back to his house and get settled for the night, he have more and more of this dream. So on day one, he kind of, because it was a 5-day thing. Day one, it was more like he had this dream. He was driving. He had an old blue car, like big old school type car, and he was driving. And then he would pull up to a spot and he'd see this girl that needed a ride because the Metro bus had broke down. And he was like, he offered her a ride, which, he had never had the heart in real life to do that. But he offers her a ride, and she talked to him throughout the drive, and she was really nice and cool. And then, of course, like always, he'll get to her house, and then she'll say bye. And he was never afraid to talk. He didn't, he punk out, and then he don't talk to her. That went on for a couple of days. Then on like the second to the last day, he had like the same dream, and he'll pick her up and stuff. And this round, she'll say, I'm sorry, I didn't get to get your name. And he'd say, my name is Steven. And she's like, Steven? Oh, she said, okay, well, I'm Molly. And then he's like, okay, well, nice to meet you, Molly. And then she's like, thank you. And I'm sorry, I didn't get your last name. And he was like, Stephen Wright. And then she was like, oh, so you're the Mr. Wright I've been looking for my entire life. And then, of course, like always, he'll drop her off, and then he'll wake up because in his dream, he was also still the same guy. So, of course, he was always scared to talk to her. But in his dream, he also knew, like the places he was driving and stuff like that, but he just couldn't really pinpoint that house. He knew how it looked and everything. But for some reason, that one day evening, he got the courage to get up and said, you know what? Just to be funny, I'm actually going to take that driving route, because just to see if maybe it was a girl at the bus stop or something, or maybe it's like, maybe it's my calling or something. So he was talking to his coworker at the time. His coworker was like, come on, man. I mean, think about it. He's like, you had the same dream about a girl all this time. Maybe you should really just look into it and see what comes out of it. So Steven would leave work that day and take the same route that he always take in his dream to go home, to see when he passed that bus stop, maybe this girl will be standing at the bus stop and, everything in his dream would come true. But when he put up beside that bus stop, there was no girl and nothing. And he's like, why did I even do this? This is dumb. This was not smart. It's a dream. Why am I even chasing a dream? And I know I shouldn't be. This girl doesn't even exist. I just feel, crazy. Why did I listen to my coworker? So he left and he went home. But this round, when he had the dream that night, it was the same girl, Molly, would get in the car and she would talk to him. This round, she'd tell him a little more details. Like, after I leave, I normally go home and feed my little sister. I got to make lunch for her by a certain time. So I really appreciate that you give me these rides and I don't have to wait on that bus anymore. And, he was like, well, she's like, I wish it was a way I could repay you. He was like, just keep being yourself and keeping that beautiful smile on your face. It makes the world a better place. And she would get out the car and she would look back at him and he'll look at her, and you could tell she waiting for him to say something. But as always, he cops out and he didn't say anything. But this round in his dream, he actually was able to see the address of the house. So he went back to work the next day and this guy gave him shit and made fun of him because there was no girl at the bus stop. And he was like, well, it still was worth a try because you never know. And he said, but you only did it once. Why don't you just try it again? And he's like, no, I'm not going to let myself look dumb again. But he was still having that dream, and when he got off work, he just couldn't help it. So he took that drive and he went through there and he looked at the bus stop, and once again, there was no one there. But for some reason, since he had this address in his head now, he wound up this carriage and he was just like, I came too far. I have to go to this house. So he did. He drove to the house in his dream. And he got out of there, he walked up to the front door, and then he knocked on it. And right after he knocked on the door, some young girl will answer the door, blonde, that looks kind of similar to how Molly looked. And she'd say, how you doing? I'm Terry. And he would say, you must be Molly's sister. And then he's like, or related to Molly in some type of way. And then she's like, yeah, I am. I'm her sister, come on in. And she let him in the house and she said, make yourself at home. I got to take a phone call and I'll be right back. So she went over to get the phone, and while she was getting the phone, Steven would walk around the living room looking at pictures and stuff, family pictures and stuff, and he would see pictures of Molly in the photos because, he was like, she looked so beautiful. It's like you could just you know when you see her, she had the look of a model to him, you know? And he's like, I could definitely identify her. But in some pictures, it was her, and it was another younger girl, and I'm assuming that's the sister that maybe she had to come feed, you know, and stuff, have to make lunch for her. He said, because this sister right here is a little older. She's like close to Molly's age. And Molly would come back over from putting down the phone, and she'd say, hey, she's like, so you friends of Molly? And he said, yeah, I'm friends of Molly. You know, just kind of bumped into her a lot and stuff. Just making small talk, because now he's like, okay, Molly does exist in my dream, which is, you know, he's like, but yeah, he's like, she's so beautiful in these pictures. And she's like, yeah, that's my favorite one right there of the both of us. And she pointed at this picture, and he looked at her, and he's like, hold on, you're the young girl in this picture? And she said, mm-hmm, that was me and that was Molly. She's like, I love those days. She really taught me how to ride a bike. Wait, what? I'm lost, you know? And she looked back at him and she said, oh, well, that picture was taken about 8 years before the accident. Then his face sunk. He's like, accident? What accident? And she would say, well, right before Molly got in a bad car accident and she died 8 years ago. Right there, he knew it. He was like, I'm dreaming of riding around with a girl that doesn't even exist because she passed away and she was in my dream. And he didn't want to tell her that, but it really threw him off, so he kind of played it off and just went normal. She's like, can I get you something to drink? Have a seat on the couch. And she did. She went and got him some tea, and then they sat down, and he's still trying to wrap his head around, like, what was that about then? So Terry died in the accident. And she said, mm-hmm. But, you know, it was a long time ago, and I'm really over it and stuff. And by the way, I didn't get your name. And he said, Steven. She's like, oh, nice to meet you, Steven. She's like, Steven what? And she's Steven Wright. And she said, you know what? Right before my sister passed in the hospital, she told me, don't worry, because I'll send Mr. Wright to come look after you. Right there, he told her everything that has happened in his dreams. And a year to that date that he told her everything, them two will get married. And they will also live happily ever after. Just like this story, living happily ever after. So if you guys are into this type of stories, please smash the notification bell, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps my channel, because I'm new to only storytelling, and this is only episode 9, and they only gonna get better as it goes on. So that's gonna do it. See y'all.